You know, I was excited about Halloween this year, but apparently it's canceled. I even had a costume and everything. What the hell am I gonna do with these now? Oh yeah, this is the LAZLOW zone.
You guys know what this represents?
Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
What storm is
We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that. And we're going to have a great evening. Thank you all for coming.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint and
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Hello, this is the second episode of the Laszlo Prophecy. So, I wanted to break this news to everybody because nobody else is talking about it, and it's a pretty big deal. So, Donald Trump has just signed a massive peace deal with the Saudi Arabia, Palestine, and Egypt, and all the Emirates, right? We're not from there. Most people I know don't even know anything about the Middle East, but this deal is one of the biggest peace deals that has ever happened, and it's biblical. This is a biblical proportion. If you look at Thessalonians 5:3, you'll read, "So while everybody is saying there's peace and safety, the destruction will come on them suddenly. So just like the labor pains of a pregnant woman, they will not escape." So this is like one of the biggest things I've heard of in a long time, because just like I said before, Donald Trump is always promoting peace, but even the president himself of Palestine, his name is M.ABBAS, he rejected the U.S. plan. He called out straight up that Trump is a killer and a liar. And he said Trump's conspiracy deal will not pass. And he said the rights are not for sale and Israel is not for sale. So this is not a good thing, because this leaves this president, M.ABBAS, #1 target. Because he's the only one against this massive American deal. So if he was to die, it would be one of the biggest effects on the entire Middle East. Because not only that, but Nostradamus predicted the third Antichrist would be M.ABBAS. Now, I don't think he's actually the third Antichrist, but I do think if you kill this guy, if this guy gets assassinated, his name is clearly M.ABBAS. It couldn't be any more clear than that. If this guy dies, it would do nothing but start a massive war in the Middle East. So, probably the trigger for World War III. So they're calling this the Abraham Accord. They're calling it Abraham because Abraham was like the father to all these nations. Even as a Christian, Abraham is the father of all these guys too. But it's never happened with the Jews and the Muslims and Palestinians. They've never had a peace deal ever. So this is going to change a lot of the world. And they even have this crazy coin which has tons of Freemason symbology all over it. What was on it?
Oh my goodness, there was too much on it.
There-
It starts off with a sword, and within the sword...
There's like this palm tree, which means peace, but there was also a little vaccine pills, little vaccine vials, a whole bunch of things that are obviously this has all been set up, you know. And then they're going to be talking about building a third temple pretty soon. Like even on his signature, Donald Trump has so many pyramids in his signature. It says, "As if one inclines towards peace, it inclines towards you." So this coin is just packed full of symbolism. There's like satellites, zeros and ones. It has Saturn, you know, Saturnic, and this little rocket saying Abraham was the familiar Bible character referred to as Abraham in the Christian faith, and Ibrahim in Muslim faith, and Ivraham in the Jewish faith. That's what they're doing, and this could cause a massive problem for the whole world, really. So back here in Canada, we're already seeing things on the news which is crazy about how Doug Ford is saying, well, the second wave is coming, we all have to get prepared, and they have things in place. What does that mean? It means that they've planned this out so long ago.
He
and
said
they're just...
we've been planning it since the summer.
Exactly. What I see happening is, as soon as Halloween comes along, they're going to say, oh, and the one day uptick in surge of coronavirus cases. And then they'll just be like, oh, we have to shut down immediately. They'll just, right? It's 2 days before the American election. There'll be so many people just panicking like, oh no, we didn't listen. We didn't listen. We went out on Halloween. Oh no. And then it's just sad because...
It's sad because that's the one day of the year everyone puts on a mask anyways.
Yeah,
so.
but the more you keep locking down this country and the whole world, Israel right now is also in lockdown. Conveniently, at the same time, they did this peace deal, which is not a coincidence. So they lock down the whole world again. Then what's going to happen? More economic problems. But there's actually a plan in place called the Great Economic Forum. The Great Reset. They already had this all planned out. You can go to the Economic Forum website and look at it. And it's just insane how they're trying to say how global warming and all these natural occurrences is a good time for us to have a nice global reset. And that's not going to be good for anybody, but they are making it look like it's going to be fine, and that's not right. So, like, not only California, but, like, pretty much the entire world is on fire right now. Greece and...
Australia, and then they're talking about the Arctic is even...
The Arctic is on fire? So, I can't stop but go back to the Bible and read Revelation, which says, Revelation 8:7, the first angel sounded his trumpet, and there were hail and fire mixed with blood, hurled down upon the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees was burned up, and a third of the grass. I don't know how many fires are out there right now, but is it a third of the planet? Could we be looking at like catastrophic fires for like the next 10 years until a third of the world is on fire?
Could possibly be. There's 21 wildfires right now just in Canada and British Columbia currently that they're trying to get out. That was just announced not too long ago.
So like obviously they have laser weapons and people think it's crazy to talk about laser weapons. This isn't natural. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. This does not just happen. Wildfires around the planet at an unprecedented scale is not natural. It's biblical. And it's also man-made. All this shit that's happening is man-made. Nothing happening right now is just something that normally happens. We don't get viruses from bats, and we don't get 10,000 wildfires all over the place, okay?
You know what's absolutely crazy is they actually caught people throwing Molotov-type, cocktails.
Yes.
Setting a bunch of... the one guy, he set 6 fires. They arrested him, let him out. No time at all, he was back doing it again.
That's retarded.
I don't even understand.
So, and then the mail delivery trucks, they're saying are self-exploding at the same time in suburban areas. And they're just lighting on fire, people are recording it. And it's ridiculous how I saw these like crisis actors like, oh, it's terrible. Are there people in it? Oh! Like they didn't plan that out perfectly.
They're filming.
Where did you get you just had a camera on it at the exact same time and this guy is just on fire. You're not going to go out. You're just going to record it. You're going to record a guy burning to death in a friggin' mail truck, but not go out and help him. Is he okay?
I don't know.
Oh.
Let me film you, Bob.
And it's not just like 1 or 2. They're saying that all these mail trucks, conveniently, right before the election, are all just setting on fire while they're driving down the street.
Mail in that ballot.
Yeah.
Mail
So
in your ballot.
they're doing anything they can, hiring people to set friggin' trucks on fire. This is literally the epitome of stupidity, because right before the election, and there's just, does anyone think that this is kind of just like not supposed to happen?
The thing I found hilarious is they said it's because they're 24 years old and they should have retired.
Oh, at the same time, yeah.
So most of them are 24 years old, and you just self-combust at 24 years old when you're a truck? Oh, that's good.
So I actually had a dream about 2 weeks ago, and it was about the United States, and I kept hearing Hellfire missiles. I looked it up, and apparently the United States has been selling tons of Hellfire missiles to United Kingdom and Japan, like recently. $46 million worth of missiles. The Bible also talks about, in those end days, that there's people will be tortured and stuff by a massive machine, mostly that looks like a scorpion. And what I think of like a scorpion is either helicopters, tanks, or whatever, and they will kill thousands of people, probably millions. And that, imagine these prophets trying to tell people thousands of years ago, describing military equipment and what sounded like the wings of locusts. But he's talking about helicopters, and he's talking about the wings off of like tanks and just terrible devices that they could not describe, but it's exactly what's happening.
I bet you some of that frequency devices too that they use.
Right. So every year, January 21st, 2020, they had a Swedish climate activists, basically a big meeting called the Davos meeting, and every year they do it. They're doing it again And on January 21st, again, they will be basically discussing the fate of the world and our economy. And nobody can do anything about it because they're basically just a bunch of dictators that come together just like the United Nations, and there's nothing that anyone can do. But people like Harry from the royal family, he just left and he moved to Canada and he's in British Columbia.
Yeah, and allegedly that's where him and, was it Meghan Markle or whatever, that's where they took off to. They gave up on it. They're, nope, screw this, we're out.
Wow.
I know.
So, if everybody is just seeing exactly what's happening, people from the royal family are just dropping out.
CEOs
Doesn't that
everywhere.
tell you that something's about to happen?
Why would all the CEOs
Okay,
step down?
and then, yeah, thousands of companies are going bankrupt and they're just stepping down. And even Microsoft, Bill Gates himself stepped down from Microsoft so he could pursue his new passion.
Killing
Vaccines,
people.
yes. So, on top of that, we have the death of the dollar. All these countries are going away from the dollar. You can expect gold to reach like $5,000 per ounce in the next few years here. We've already almost hit $3,000. I'm talking Canadian though. So around $2,000 or $3,000 American is not that hard to see. And even silver is going to be about $100 an ounce, which has never happened. But you go back and look at 2008 and 1930, and it did reach some pretty high levels of about 3,000 per ounce, and silver was about 50. So if you do have money, you got to realize that your cash or your money in your bank, it will be completely worthless. Doesn't matter how much you have, you can't just convert it to gold. You have to go get physical gold and silver. No matter what happens, gold and silver always holds its value. If it's physical gold, they can't do anything. There's a reason why they stole all the gold from the Jews back in World War II. Because they actually have physical currency in it. You can use it for things too. That's why it's so expensive. So, Elon Musk, I hear everywhere about the stupid Neuralink thing. The guy's never fell through with anything he's come up with. He's a liar. But they're constantly pushing this cyberpunk transhuman thing, just like that show Raised by Wolves. They're trying to push the body to phone thing. The Bible also goes on about how you can't buy or sell without the mark, and it's either on your right hand or your forehead, or probably both. So that's why they're pushing this thing in your forehead. It's in your head, in the back of your head. But the Bible is saying about your forehead being one of the mark. You know, temperature scans are another thing I'm trying to say about the forehead. They're scanning your forehead. I see people all over. That's exactly what the Bible's saying about your forehead. Why do you need to scan my forehead? Right? And then famine, pestilence, and war. But we didn't talk about earthquakes. We didn't talk about Yellowstone. But also, there's another fault line near the St. Louis area. That's a huge fault line too. Just like that X marked the spot where the eclipse comes in 2024. There's another one in 2029. But like, we're thinking that an earthquake in 2024 is a very high possibility. This brings me to the theory that it's like everyone has Stockholm syndrome. We constantly keep putting us in lockdown, and just like Stockholm syndrome, they side with their captor, right? It's like we're being captive, and then we're like, oh, please, we'll do what you say, and we'll pay whatever. Just like prisoners, they have Stockholm syndrome. If you sit in jail long enough, you go fucking crazy, and you will pay whatever the bail is. You'll get that money. You'll have to go tell your mom to go sell your car to get you the hell out of jail because you want to buy your freedom back. This is what they're doing to the whole world as a mass conscious population. They're just trapping everybody in their own home, and then they're like, you can get out, but you got to take the vaccine. And that's how they're slowly going to be pushing it, and everybody totally fine with it. Oh yeah, well, I got to get back to my job, I got to get back to my life because I need to live. So I'll take the chip and I'll take the vaccine. And it's a form of reverse psychology. It's normalizing stupidity, normalizing crazy.
It is normalizing crazy. And when you walk through stores, do you not see how crazy people are getting and nasty with each other?
Yeah, I got a clip.
Oh, yeah.
You mind keeping your distance? Stay the fuck back.
What you can do about it, bitch?
Could you ask this guy to get away from me? Please, get away from me. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Hey, can you have this guy keep a social distance from me, please? Get back.
Tough guy.
You want to find out?
I don't know. You want to do this in Walmart? Let's go.
We're gonna do this. You gotta leave.
I'm not doing shit. He's the one who's fucking old and retarded.
And they're separating each other just based on the mask. It's literally like totally prejudice against, oh, you're not wearing a mask, so I instantly don't like you. You're wearing a mask, so instantly I know that you're dealing with the fear mongering. It's absolutely ridiculous how many times both of us have been attacked over it.
So you remember when they were sending the seeds all over America?
Yes.
And even Canadians were getting these seeds.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about the Chinese Communist Party, because the Chinese people are incredibly in China. They're stuck. There's no way they can just communicate and jump on the phone. They can't just Skype us. And they cannot just go on Facebook. All their websites, it's all controlled. The Communist Party has everybody in a nutshell. So what if they're trying to warn us? What if they're sending us these messages, not as a poisonous, geo-engineered seeds that somebody's dumb enough to plant?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna tell us, if they can, if some people can get through the postal system, they're gonna go through and send us seeds as a warning, saying that there's a food crisis on the way. If there's a food crisis on the way, they're the ones who would know, because they're the ones that make most of our products.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our stuff is from there.
The majority is.
And
yes.
they're already having a food crisis. Then it just gets even crazier with things in the mail. Okay, so they're blaming Canadians or a Canadian woman for attempting to kill Trump with ricin in the mail. Are they expecting people to believe that Trump is just going to open the mail and be like, oh, this is delicious, some snacks? What, he's just going to eat a bag of like unlabeled ricin? And
Yeah, it doesn't.
they
make
actually
sense.
believe people are, what kind of attempt is that?
No, I know it's bullshit. It's got to be bullshit because they didn't even give a name or anything about this person.
No, they're actually saying that, oh, we arrested this woman and there's a RCMP investigation
Sure there
on
is.
some random woman from Canada, and you're just going to send it in the... What is the point of that? Do they think that there's no security? And nobody has a brain to have, like, a thought? That doesn't happen. Nobody's going to... It's just... I can't believe the things that are coming out of the media nowadays, because it's so hard to believe that people are that stupid.
As soon as it was X-rayed, they would have seen it. If they like have smashed my art and it's just clay, then I can't imagine them allowing seeds and things like that going through. I just know.
And all these mailboxes exploding, or mail trucks.
Mail
just
trucks,
all at the same time. Conveniently, what do we got? Like a month until the election?
Yeah. So
It's
the
crazy.
ballots are all screwed up now because they all exploded.
A lot of things that people say, you really got to gauge. It's pretty easy to gauge how people are trying to talk to you, because there's two different sides. There's a satanic side and a good side. For one, if a pastor is trying to tell you a message and all he's trying to do is say how you can acquire this and have a career and have everything you've ever wanted, that's not of God. God doesn't want everybody to be rich.
We'd all be rich.
God wants people to be humble.
Mm-hmm.
Satan will give you all these grand delusions of rich and famous. That's Satan. That's just like how he had Jesus on the hill and he said, you can have all this in the whole world. And he said, fuck off, Satan. But when somebody's telling you how you can help others, right? My message, I'm trying to help others. I'm trying to give this message so you can tell your friends. I'm not trying to tell you how to get rich and famous. Most pastors are like, oh, all you have to do is ask God and he'll give you a Bentley. That is not a message from
Are
God.
all the celebs saying, thank you, God, for putting me up here and making me the best on the basketball team or the rich? No, God is not singling out that person to give them riches. It's bull.
So the bottom line of this whole story is America is trying to get the whole world to buy their vaccine, because Russia, they also have a vaccine early and everybody else is trying to compete with them. So they signed this peace deal and they're trying to get all these Arab states to buy the vaccine from them, and they're going to make tons of money. But that's not what's going to happen if a lot of these countries say no, because this guy, MABBAS, he's saying no and he's stepping down from this plan. So this could start a massive war, because we already have tension with this guy in power. He's the president. Mm-hmm. Him dying would be like equivalent to Trump dying. He's that big out there. He's a big deal. So, but everything that I've seen and all this stuff that's happening, Like, I feel like I've done it before. You know, I feel like all this has happened, and I feel like I'm in this cursed apocalyptic time loop. Yeah, a lot of people watch my channel, and I've talked about quantum physics and stuff, but I seriously think that, is it possible that I'm going through some kind of soul training? We're all going through something to train our souls. We live this life. Does it matter when you die and you go back into the astral plane? There's no time. So who says I don't go back in time and go relive my life, and I'm like in this endless fucking time loop? What do you think?
I do think that for me personally, since I was little, I've always felt that, oh, here I am again, doing this again. It just feels very... People say deja vu, okay? Why don't you look at deja vu kind of like this here? If you were to play a video game, you have a game save, and your character dies at one spot, it continue on. In one reality, we get killed by a Mack truck. Another reality, we end up waking up in the hospital. You had your black mold poisoning, so that could have been a reset for
I've
you.
had so many near-death experiences.
Me too. I've almost drowned a bunch of things, right?
And it's just like I keep waking up, and then things change a little bit.
Just a little bit? Now
But
it's a lot.
It's like we're entering a totally different zone, like a totally new... It's like you could redo this lifetime multiple times, but we have free will. So every time you make a decision, it literally changes the entire... But in the end game, no matter what, we couldn't have changed this fake pandemic, you know what I mean? We can't change these massive events like 9/11.
I feel it would need to be a group consciousness shift. It really needs to be. And because there's so many people stuck in the fear-mongering, wearing the mask, feeling like there actually is this huge pandemic going on, not a plandemic, they're stuck in a certain mindset that they're not open. They're not going to see the way we see Mandela effects and things like that. They're not going to see these changes because they don't want to change. Like you said, Stockholm Syndrome, same type of idea. But if we're constantly redoing and rewriting things just even a little bit, that could be us coming back over and over again. That's why things are constantly changing.
This is the other thing. Back in Thessalonians 5:3, it also says, which is like really weird about like even modern day, still makes sense. To you, brothers, you are not in darkness, so that this day should surprise you like a thief. You are all sons of the light and sons of the day. We do not belong to the night nor the darkness. So then, step up, not be like others who are asleep, but let us be alert and self-controlled. For those who are asleep, sleep at night, and for those who get drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us not be self-controlled and put our faith and love as a breastplate and hope for salvation as a helmet. For God did not appoint us to suffer the wrath and receive salvation. But, yeah. So he died for us for that, so that we are awake and not asleep. We may live together with him. It just brings you to the fact that there are so many people who are asleep.
Too many.
And it like this was written 2,000 years ago, and we're still using the same kind of wordage. You guys are sleeping. Wake the fuck up. You know what I mean?
It's like the Matrix where they said they're not ready to be unplugged because they just so want to have faith in their government and all that jazz. So if they're doing that, they won't wake up because they're already, nope, I won't listen to you. They're shutting it out.
The last verse, the last sentence is like, therefore encourage one another. Build each other up. Just as a fact of what you're doing. Like, this is so crazy how people are stuck in this CNN delusion. And I guess the way I see it is that these people aren't ready to wake up. You know, just like the Matrix, they're not ready to be unplugged. They're going to be doing this over and over until their soul or whatever is ready to leave. You know what I mean? I don't think that I'm going to have to be recycling this again and again because we've learned enough. We are awake enough to get the hell out. It would be a nightmare for me to do it again.
Every time you go against your better judgment, that's where you have to have the reset, if you will.
It's if your soul didn't figure it out by now, and I don't think some people are going to do it in the first round, obviously. You're not going to get it all figured out for your soul.
I always say to people that are rude to me, well, maybe in the next recycling you'll understand, because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's so hard to prove. But from my deja vu, my constant seeing of all this, to me, it's real as hell. You know what I mean? And there is a hell and there is a heaven. And I don't care what anyone says. We have free will, and you choose where you're going to go. You know? If you want to be stuck in the Matrix, that is your own doing. It literally says, if you want to make your bed in hell, he'll be there with you, but you did it to yourself. So anyway, I'm Laszlo. This is Kira. And we are the two witnesses, and we're out.
Take care.